Hi, Peggy Otto. This is late Sunday night. I've been looking over some of your work. I've been looking back at last week and I've been looking ahead to next week. It's been interesting getting started this week. There was a lot going on. I'm still learning how to use some of this technology, and some of you may be too. So I just want you to know that we're in this together and we'll work things out. Feel free to contact me if you're having trouble. I'm can't fix all your technical problems, but we're in this together. This online experiment. I'll have to say that I'm having a little bit of fun with some of the technology, even though I've enjoyed teaching face to face for a long, long time. Um, it's kind of interesting to see what we can do with the technology, and I really like the idea that we don't have to stop learning just because we can't meet face to face. So I'm interested to see how this is working out. I've read through your introductions on the discussion board and had a good time with those, finding out more about you, and hope you've enjoyed finding out more about each other. But this is the start of a set of videos that I hope to produce over the semester. Um, at the very minimum, it'll be a weekly review and preview, just so I can highlight some of the important things from the previous week and some of the things that we have coming up for the next week. There will occasionally be other times that I see coming where I will be actually presenting some information to you online rather than using the YouTube videos and just the documents. I'll be doing some mini lectures. So this will be the first of that series, and we'll see how it goes. So I do want to talk a little bit about the syllabus, the long form of the syllabus. I noticed that most of you read the recommendations about taking online courses, and understood about how important it is to manage your time and meet the deadlines. And I'm trying to do what I can on my end to help you know when those deadlines are and help you to look ahead. But a couple of things that I wanted to point out from the long form that you may not have noticed, but I think they're important to consider. And the first of all is the objectives of this course. This is a course basically in academic writing, right? You took English 100, and that was just in general honing your writing skills and trying out some different genres and different types of writings and writing and stretching your writing skills a little bit. In English 300, we look more into academic writing. We look at academic texts. I think of you as people who are going to be professionals. You're going to be entering into a professional workplace. And this is developing those reading, writing, communication skills at that level within your discipline. So that's why we started out looking at what are disciplines and why do they have these specialized languages and these conventions, these certain ways of doing things, these certain formats that they use, genres. And so in a way, it feels like it's a little bit, it's not your everyday reading and writing. It's a little more formal. It's more of your public face writing. We won't be doing personal writing. We'll be doing more not professional writing, because that's a different discipline, but more writing like you would do in a profession. Or if you're planning on taking more coursework, maybe graduate school, after you get your bachelor's degree, to just give you a chance to dip into what it will feel like to be reading and writing more of those complicated texts. So given that this is a little bit different from English 100, there's some ways in which it's also going to be familiar to you from 100. And that is, we look at issues like audience and purpose and author and context. what we rhetoricians call the rhetorical stance. So we approach every reading and writing text from the perspective of who's writing it and why, who do they expect to be reading it, what do they hope to gain from it, and we call that the rhetorical stance. So when you see in your course goals the words audience, purpose, genre, um, uh, that is a way of contextualizing any kind of reading or writing activity that helps us to center on the key goals for that particular text. I guess what I'm trying to say is not all reading is alike. You know, reading is not just reading, but it's reading for a certain purpose and writing for a certain purpose. So we'll be talking a lot about what are you trying to accomplish here, and who do you hope to expect to be reading this, and is what you're doing chosen in order to help you accomplish that purpose. We'll also be dealing a lot with sources, evaluating sources. There's so much information available now on all the media. Some of it's true and some of it's not. Some of it's highly opinionated. Some of it's accurate, factual, evidence-based. But sorting through that is a real critical thinking process. And so a big part of what we'll practice with is finding, evaluating sources, reading sources against each other. And you will be doing a research project that actually requires you to evaluate, gather, sort, read the sources against each other, and then come out with some conclusions of your own. So words that I'm looking at from our course objectives like audience, purpose, genre, sources, reliability, validity, and then the writing process, how to use the writing process all the way from picking a topic to those last refinements that you add as you get your writing ready to publish. So I hope that I'm going to try to, I know that I'm going to try, I hope that I will succeed in making clear that the work that we do, the assignments that you do, are designed to meet those course objectives. A couple of guidelines that I also want to point out, rules. One is that all writing for this course has to be new writing. Recycled writing is not acceptable for this course. You'll be doing multiple drafts of every paper that you write, and you will grow in that you push yourself to do new things, to think new thoughts, to try out new ways of incorporating sources, to be willing to take on those challenges by doing new writing just for this course. And we do monitor that to catch recycled writing. Now that doesn't mean that you can't explore some of the same issues in this course that you're exploring in your other courses. It just means that the writing that you do for this course needs to be new writing for this course. We will be doing multiple drafts, and that's so important for this course. We don't think of, I don't want us to think of writing a paper, but rather writing multiple drafts of a project. The first draft is not going to be the best that you can do, no matter how many times you start over at that first draft at one sitting, no matter how much time you rework any particular sentence. That first draft is not a final draft. And the way that we get to be better as writers is to try out multiple drafts. So that is a requirement of the course, is that you be willing to produce new writing, and you be willing to do some deep revisions of that writing. The assignments, you have 4 short assignments. I've listed those, and we're getting started next week with that first one. You've got that summary assignment for next week. Every assignment that we do, hopefully, will build toward the final research paper, which is the end of the course, the 3,000 word plus final researched argument that you make. So we start out with learning to summarize, because one thing that you do to prepare for doing research, for writing a research paper, is to be able to summarize sources. And we'll work on that first. Then we'll work on paraphrasing and quoting, and build those skills that are going to be necessary to carry the work through to the end. You'll be doing a rhetorical analysis, which may be new to you. The rhetorical analysis is designed to help you analyze rhetorical situations that I talked about previously, to help you learn to think about who's writing for whom and why. And then you'll be writing a proposal sometime shortly before the middle of the semester, a proposal for a research project. So it's not too early to start to think about and to start to explore a topic that you will be wanting to spend the semester with. Choosing a topic is going to be critical part of the process. To the extent that you choose an interesting topic, that you narrow that topic enough, that you consider a topic that is debatable, that it's important enough to spend your time on, that it is a topic that people need convincing about. We'll talk more about choosing topics, but we start that right away. So it's not too early to start keeping your eyes and ears open in your other courses to ideas that come up that you wonder about, that you might be able to be willing to spend some time with. Then your major assignments that are going to count the most toward your grade will be those final steps toward the research paper. You'll do the annotated bibliography, and once you've had time to look over some sources and choose some that work and work with those sources, then you'll turn in an annotated bibliography that shows me this is what I found that I think I can work with, and you'll explain connections that you're starting to see. Then you'll write a literature review in which you actually take the sources that you found and actually write an essay, a preliminary essay built on those sources, in which you talk about how the sources talk to each other. You try to make connections among the sources for your literature review. And then you'll have some time developing the different parts of that research argument. We'll talk a lot about how to build an argument, the parts of an argument, and you'll be developing parts of your argument. And then once you've drafted your research paper, you'll also turn that into a presentation, which will take the place of your final exam. Now that sounds like a lot, but we'll do it in pieces. And I think you'll come up at the end of the course with something that you're really proud of. Most students say that I have a dog, so sometimes he'll be in and out of the room. Something that you'll be proud of and that you'll be excited to share with your classmates. So I've already sort of mentioned what we're going to be doing in week 2. Week 2, we're going to write the summary. We're going to look at an article together, a research type article together, and we're going to try out some collaborative annotations. We're going to use a collaborative annotation tool called Hypothesis, and do close reading of a document. The whole class will be doing the same document. We'll do a close reading of that together and annotate it together. And then we'll take those notes, and by a week from tonight, and it's almost 11 o'clock Sunday night, by a week from tonight, you'll be turning in your first paper, and it will be a 500 plus summary of that one article that we've looked at together. Now that will be the last time that we will use a common article. I think it probably will be the last time that we all use the same article, because from there you're going to start branching out and looking for your own articles. Now, and I've had you do that last week. I already had you look at library databases and kind of examine what are some topics that are important in my field. And so I'll be sending you out on your own then to collect your own articles on a topic. You probably don't know right now what you want to focus on. So don't worry if you don't right now know, oh yes, I'm going to do my paper on this. This is what I'm going to argue. But right now it's looking around and seeing what's possible, kind of just dabbling and seeing what connections come to mind, what questions are raised. So we're going to spend a little bit of time just looking around in the literature and seeing what comes up, and then we'll start to build from there. But we've actually started that process last week, and are continuing it this week. That notion of looking at sources and looking for sources. So, takeaway. I'm really glad to be teaching this class. I enjoy doing research. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I hope you will learn to enjoy doing research. Maybe you already do. And I want you to just be thinking ahead about a topic that you might want to investigate. I'm going to end this by just inviting you to, if you're having trouble with technology, contact me. We'll try to work it out together. But the more you participate, the more you'll get out of it, and the better work that you'll do. I do urge you, if you want to have a face-to-face conference, either a Zoom conference or a phone conference, or we can chat by email. We can have an email session. Don't hesitate to contact me. I have office hours from 9:30 to 10:30, Monday through Thursday. So if you send me an email early that morning, early on a Monday or Tuesday morning, that you'd like to have a conference about your grades, a conference about a paper, talk over an idea, send me that early. In your subject heading, write appointment request, so I'll know to respond to that right away. So yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock on Sunday night, so I'm going to get back to looking at some of the work that you're sending in. Look forward to seeing what we do together next week.